Hi, I'm Tracy Brown with the LA Times here at Comic-Con with the cast of Nancy Drew.
Hello.
Hello. I'm sure you get a version of this question all the time, but what was your first introduction to Nancy Drew? Was it the books? Was it one of the prior TV shows?
Mine was this.
Nice.
I had never heard of Nancy Drew, and I feel ashamed to say it, but I didn't. So for me, this was like a whole new genre and experience that I had never known before. I don't know if it's a UK thing.
I knew about it.
Okay, cool.
But that's cool though. That's kind of cool though. It's slightly enviable that this is your first experience in Nancy Drew. You get to do it right.
Yeah,
You get to
okay.
play a Nancy Drew character. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
I had a couple of books growing up, Nancy Drew books. Read those.
Yes, I read a ton of the books. I played computer games since from childhood on to through college. So yeah.
I remember where the books were in the library.
Was there a
didn't
Nancy
read
Drew
'em.
section?
Hmm?
Was there just a Nancy Drew section?
Yeah,
It was just yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, same. In elementary school, like third grade, I was always reading Nancy Drew.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was it like hearing that you got a part in Nancy Drew for the people that already knew about the books?
Super wild. I mean, absolutely 100% surreal. Like I had been pretending to be Nancy Drew in my head since I was a kid. So it was
That
very,
was justified.
Yeah.
hey, it worked out. It was worth it, Mom.
I thought it was exciting. So many generations of people have an orientation to Nancy Drew. My parents had read the books. I had friends, girlfriend who played the computer games, much like Kennedy did. So it's cool what a large spread of people have an orientation to it.
Yeah, for me, it was a real blast from the past. Real nostalgic kind of joy, kind of just a smile on your face when you get your email, that email with Nancy Drew. So yeah, that was very exciting. That was very cool.
Well, for the people that weren't at Comic-Con, all they know about your show pretty much is the trailer. Can you maybe go through and tell us who we're going to meet? Who are you playing? What
Who
can
are
you
you
share
playing?
about these characters?
I'm playing Nancy Drew.
Surprise.
Girl detective. No, so we pick up with Nancy. She sort of hung up the detective cap post the death of her mother in her senior year of high school. So she's graduated high school basically because her mother gets very sick and passes away, and all of her college plans sort of go to pot, and she decides to spend a year at home working a job at a diner and trying to save up money in hopes that she'll reapply to go to Columbia next year to study journalism as she had intended. And because she couldn't solve her biggest mystery, this mystery of sort of saving her mom, she decides that detective work isn't for her anymore, and until we find her wrapped up in a murder investigation because she's a suspect.
And then I feel like in the diner, that's kind of when you meet a lot of the characters that work with Nancy at the Claw. She works at the Claw.
Nice.
And I play George Fan, who is the manager at the Claw. And I know her and Nancy have kind of had like a bit of a troubled past before, which I don't recall that being in the book. So that's kind of a new element to the story. And George Fan is this really like tough, snarky, rude character who's just always trying to like jab at Nancy. So yeah, but George also works with Bess.
Hey. Bess Marvin, yeah, I think there's going to be so much about this character that is more than what you see on the outside. The fancy clothes and the looking good is really a cover-up, and just this exterior that's holding the inside. The inside is a troubled teenager, like all of us are, that are dealing with like serious, whether it's to do with identity or relationships, all of that. Yeah, so we're going to uncover a lot of stuff.
I play Ace. He works at the diner as well, washes dishes, and sort of friend, confidant to Nancy Drew. And whenever this mystery drops in their lap, he's eager to lend his services, help.
He's got some secrets of his own.
He's
Maybe.
not just a dishwasher. Oh.
Okay.
I just plot twist.
I play Ned Nickerson, aka Nick, aka Nick Nederson, as I've been calling him through these interviews. So I play Nick, and he is in the books. He is Nancy's kind of romantic interest. Are they ever explicitly boyfriend and girlfriend in the book?
Oh yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
I always felt like the ones I read it was hinted rather than kind of
Oh
these
no.
guys are an item.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's her boyfriend.
Oh, very good. There
I
you
mean,
go.
so I mean, there are
You
some.
learn
I
something
mean,
new
the
every
Hardy
day.
Boys, they
Yeah,
interfere a little
They
bit.
can't come to town. Nick's not going to be very happy about that. But it's complicated. Their relationship's complicated, both emotionally and practically complicated. But yeah, he's an out of towner. He came from out of town, and he's got a few skeletons in his closet. And we'll find out what those are.
Ah, mysteries. But speaking of mysteries, is the season like one big mystery? Is that the arc?
Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah. There's one major mystery that we work on throughout the entire season, but then kind of week to week there are missions that sort of lead up to that, and then there are some side sort of, we're sort of sidetracked into different things as they come about, but it is primarily, it's not like a week to week like case of the week sort of situation. It's a season long kind of a.
Well, also what's really cool is I feel like the characters are mysteries themselves too. I mean, we all kind of portray ourselves to be this one thing, and then there's always something in each episode that will show you maybe that's not what they actually are. So I think that's kind of cool too.
Are each of you working out the mystery on your own? Have they given you the answer yet, or is it a case you're each solving?
The overall mystery.
Yeah, of the season. Have you guys been sleuthing on your own?
We have to do some sleuthing.
We've been trying.
It's like
Bits and
teamwork,
pieces.
isn't it? You have
Yeah.
to sort of
Yeah.
branch off and do your own thing to like find it quicker, I guess.
Yeah, we kind of pick and prod at our creators, and we're like,
And each
well,
other.
what about this, and
Yeah.
each other too,
I'm like,
because
what
we
did they
all have
tell
all of our
you?
characters have so many different secrets, and it's like, so hey, remember that part? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that? What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you mentioned, Nancy Drew was her stories originated so long ago. Like, what are the parts that you can modernize, and what are the parts you want to keep true to who Nancy is?
I think there's a lot of traits that carry through that are critical to who she is and what has made her so everlasting. I mean, she's been around for almost 90 years, and it's because she's fearless and wicked smart and meticulous and believes so wholeheartedly that she's capable of anything. And she's such an empath too. She cares so much about people and about justice, and those things for sure carry through. But there's some modern, the Nancy Drew from the early books is very prim and proper and has everything together and never makes mistakes and does everything right and is the perfect daughter and the perfect friend and the perfect girlfriend. And that we have no interest in that. I mean, that's not a relatable girl, and so our Nancy still embodies all of those important traits that I had mentioned before, but she's commanding and she's fiery and she takes risks in her relationships, and she makes mistakes in how she talks to people, and she's dealing with grief and trying to find her way through that in messy ways, and you watch her grow up. I mean, she's just out of high school and trying to figure herself out and trying to figure out what her life looks like, and that's a really messy process for everybody. And it is just as much for Nancy Drew, even though she has a bit of a kind of superhero quality in what she's capable of doing. But I think it's really special and important that we make her relatable, because she's human and she's complicated and makes mistakes. So.
And it's for everyone. What is it like to bring a brand new show to Comic-Con that people haven't seen yet?
It's fantastic.
It is
It's
amazing.
fantastic, right? We more or less just came from the showing of the pilot to about 4,500 people in
Yeah.
a big old room, and then we had a panel after. So that's pretty exciting. They're the first people to see it.
Yeah.
The first public, because we've been kind of doing our thing, and now the world gets to see it, or 4,500 people in the world have gone to see it. So it's very exciting. Very exciting.
And we're still in the middle of shooting it again. So it's fun
Yeah.
that people got to get a little taste of it before we even know what it is.
Well, I'd love to keep going, but we're running out of time. So thank you all for stopping by.
Thank
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.